Are you living in a rush? When your days are a whirlwind of work, your stomach growls because you haven't had a proper meal in peace. Your eyes are bleary from lack of sleep and from too many sleepless nights at your desk. Maybe you're racing against time, trying hard to reach an unfinished dream, but your steps are too hurried. You so busy running that you forget to love yourself. So let Chapaware help you do that. Chapaware is a brand specializing in products made from virgin plastic, offering a smart and safe solution for storing and preserving food. It helps optimize your time, adding extra hours to your daily schedule, and you can spend those precious moments soothing the forgotten child within, caring for your family, your friends, and the nature around you. Now, let's join V. Sao the Knee for the first episode of this case. So, who will stay with the children in the Black Ocean? Before we begin, listeners, please note, this podcast episode may contain heavy emotions, so please consider carefully before choosing to stay and listen. She discovered her search history. She fell into a crisis after many sleepless nights. She tried many ways to sleep, even turned to sleeping pills just to get a few hours of rest, but her mind was filled with messy, negative thoughts. She didn't sleep, just drifted off as if seeing herself lying there, red water soaking the flowers and her stream of hair. Yet the corners of her eyes were dry, with no trace of tears. She thought about death a lot and tried to find sources of joy to forget those negative emotions, but it seemed like the negative feelings always won. She kept herself busy, kept up with her hobbies, but in every brushstroke, in every musical phrase, that gloomy tone still lingered. Yet the pain kept surrounding her, suffocating her body. Then, one day, she wanted it to end. Her hand had written it down, her eyes tightly shut, when suddenly the image of the little girl lying there in a daze came rushing back. But this time, there were tears falling from her mother's worn-out face. Her mother discovered her search history. Her mother found out about her intention to end her life. Her mother cried a lot, then held her tightly. "Sweetheart, tell me, did I do something wrong? I'm sorry. Let's go see a doctor together. The doctor will help you get better." Seeing her mother cry broke her heart. She once wished she could matter enough to someone, but then realized that if she truly mattered to someone, the one who'd end up hurt the most would probably be them. Her thoughts were so conflicted that she both wanted to be someone they could gently keep in their heart and remember, but at times she'd rather they forget her or just ignore her, because when they touched her life, even just a little, they would end up getting hurt somehow. Is it really necessary to matter to someone? She didn't know. She just wanted to be held in their heart, cherished softly, little by little. They would think of her when they saw something. They'd remember the things she liked. They'd recall what she hated and try to avoid those things. It was simply that she was cared for and held tightly in someone's arms. She craved warmth, but sometimes she also wanted to run away. When her mind was unstable, she knew she could die at any moment. She was afraid of hugs, yet craved them so desperately it drove her mad. Yeah, she was still afraid of being left behind like that, so she always built a wall around herself or had her own set of rules. Like how she would never lean on someone completely, no matter how much it hurt, like dying and coming back to life, because she knew that once she leaned on someone, she would lean on them entirely, and if that support disappeared, she'd be a lifeless body drifting in the cold ocean with no island in sight. Then, slowly, she would be swallowed by old memories and her own negativity. So who would stay beside the children in the Black Ocean? Maybe there is a mother, a father, A family, a lover, friends, pets, and even strangers never met before. But the child still seems hesitant about that. Where is the Black Ocean? Try Googling the term Black Ocean, and you won't find any images of a dark sea. Does that mean it doesn't exist? No, the Black Ocean is a deep water area located in the center of the Atlantic Ocean, also called the Atlantic Ocean Abyss, a deep plain in the Western Ocean. The name Black Ocean is not an official term and is not used by scientists. It was given by people who saw it and felt its extreme darkness, coldness, and mystery. The Black Ocean reaches depths of up to 6,000 meters, so no sunlight can penetrate or reach this deep water area. How was the Black Ocean formed? Without diving into advanced geography or how geological plates shifted and collided to create such a harsh environment, this podcast episode will tell you how a child's Black Ocean was formed. The Black Ocean began with a rain, not heavy enough to make the children collapse immediately, but dripping day after day, bringing coldness and dampness to them. Then that rain spread terrifyingly wide, and the children couldn't see the edge of the dark clouds, nor did they know where to run to escape the water. They kept walking under umbrellas, sending out cries for help that were never once acknowledged. They tried to find ways to endure it or get used to it, and then some just kept running until they were exhausted and collapsed. Some found shelter or a flock of umbrellas to call their own. Some couldn't wait for the sun to rise and chose an extreme way to escape. Others adapted so well they no longer wanted to run in search of sunshine. Year after year, the rain kept falling, blending with the salt of their tears, slowly building up. Until one day, all around the children was a vast expanse of water with not a single ray of light left. Some children ended up staying in the ocean their entire lives. Where does depression come from? From genes, from intense childhood experiences, from toxic family relationships, from a cold and indifferent social environment, or a combination of all those factors? For now, the only conclusion is that there is no single cause of depression. Depression has biological, psychological, and social reasons. These factors also interact with one another, making it even harder to pinpoint the exact cause of depression. Who does depression affect? Children, the elderly, teenagers, adults, men, and women. How destructive is depression? I don't know. I truly don't know how terrible the pain those children are enduring must be. It's like the bottom of the ocean, thousands of meters deep, where no one dares to venture down and explore. It seems like no one truly understands what the Black Ocean inside those children is really like. What do we know about the world of people with depression? Nothing at all. But do you really want to know what the world wrapped in a Black Ocean looks like? When you Google the term Black Ocean, you won't actually find any real sea. What you'll see are books, and among them is the book On the Edge by author Dang Huang Zhang. I have to admit that I couldn't read this book all in one go. I had to break it up into smaller reading sessions. I felt suffocated and needed long pauses after each chapter. Even the author had to warn readers right at the beginning of part 1. The true stories and real events here may cause a heavy emotional response. Please be advised. People don't want to bring more negative emotions upon themselves. On the videos about the depression-themed book posted by V. Sal the Knee, there are comments saying, if you're doing fine, please don't choose to read those books. Negative emotions really are contagious. Pain tends to linger more heavily than joy of the same weight. It doesn't just transfer directly from person to person, but also through intermediaries like sound, images, objects, and events. Through the mirror neuron system, When an emotion is experienced by someone and lingers, it becomes their own emotion. At that moment, they have officially been affected by emotional contagion. For example, one story that haunted me in The Black Ocean by Dang Huang Zhang is the story of Wen and Hien, 21 years old, who grew up witnessing their father frequently beating their mother. She grew up with a deep emotional wound. By the time she was in 11th grade, the first signs of post-traumatic stress disorder appeared, causing her to withdraw both physically and mentally, and she just wanted to die. But her parents never once acknowledged the existence of that illness. They believed she was just acting out, that since they no longer fought, there was no reason for her to be in such pain. Hien was Wen's boyfriend. They met online, and before they got serious, Wen had warned him about her illness. Hien thought he could help somehow. He went online, read various materials to prepare himself mentally. 7 months after getting to know Wen and living with her, Hien became depressed and had a failed suicide attempt. What's frightening is that Hien, once a normal person unafraid of crowds, someone who loved to share, talk, and connect with Wen, someone who once understood that living with a person who has depression requires a lot of love and knowledge, had changed. I don't feel overwhelmed, just tired. I don't feel annoyed, and I don't blame her. I know my girlfriend isn't okay. My only concern is how to take better care of the person I love, how to keep her safe so she doesn't end her life. I just feel very worried, very anxious. I don't want to lose another friend. I already lost a friend, someone from my college group, quite close. His passing scared me a lot. I'm still haunted by it. When he was alive, there were times I was pretty indifferent to him. He would text and I was too lazy to reply. Now, his image always reminds me not to let any more of my friends slip away. Depression is that frightening. What child would want to drag their loved ones into the swamp they're stuck in? That might be why those children still hesitate, because they're afraid of hurting the people around them. That afternoon, I stopped reading. I felt overwhelmed. If depression can be that contagious, who would dare come close and stay with the children drowning in that bottomless water? Later, after reading more materials and watching shared videos from other psychologists, I came to realize this: those children have to save themselves. Who will stay with the children in that deep, dark ocean? No one. No one wants to stay. Don't get it wrong. No one in their right mind wants to throw themselves into a hopeless swamp. But they will know about that dark water. They will know the children are there, and they will come. They won't stay, but they will try to help both of them get out. They will give the children the tools they need, teach them how to swim, how to breathe, a way to save themselves. So how can we help those children? Let's reconsider Hien's case in the story above. The cause might lie in the fact that, although he mentally prepared himself to deal with Uyen's illness, he forgot to strengthen his own emotional defenses. Because he wanted to give all his attention to Uyen, Hien gradually cut off contact with his friends. He stopped going out, stopped having fun, and stopped connecting with anyone. They clung to each other. Hien's parents loved him deeply and were ready to help, but Hien didn't say a word. He was afraid they would worry, and he didn't want to be a financial or emotional burden to them. Because Hien had cut himself off, both of the kids ended up sinking deeper into the dark waters together. The healing journey for someone with depression takes a long time. And of course, during that process, their negative energy can affect the person supporting them. That supporter might feel stressed, helpless, angry, scared, sad, or discouraged while walking alongside the one who is struggling. That's why it's not about constantly worrying about the person with depression, but rather about relaxing and taking care of your own health in order to support them in the long run. When your inner energy is drained, You need to recharge it from external sources. Spend time with other positive relationships to balance your spirit and emotions. By doing so, we help people with depression understand that they are not a burden or dragging us down, and over time, they will begin to open up more. Additionally, it's important to remember that when helping someone with depression, don't offer advice carelessly. That falls under the expertise of neurologists and psychologists. So if you notice someone around you showing signs of depression, encourage them to see a qualified doctor who can provide appropriate treatment methods. There is no other effective cure. Every piece of advice from someone without proper training can become an invisible blade, posing a real danger to those suffering from depression. So, encouraging them to see a doctor is the only and most reasonable option. People with depression are often very good at pretending to be happy, which is why telling them how to be cheerful is almost useless. Don't say too much and don't try to teach them what to do. Those life lessons, you'd be surprised, they probably understand them even better than you do. They just can't act on them. And don't be indifferent or dismiss their pain. Those phrases like, "Oh, come on, don't overreact. I think it's nothing. Plenty of people have it way worse at home. It's fine. Just stay positive. Maybe you're just bored and overthinking." Where do such indifferent and dismissive beliefs come from? They stem from a general lack of understanding about depression. People assume it's just a temporary state of sadness or boredom, something everyone goes through and will eventually get over as long as they try a little harder. The word depression has recently been used quite casually in everyday life. We often hear complaints like, "Oh no, it's raining again, can't go out, so depressing." Some young people even joke online, saying things like, "Don't get too happy, get depressed instead." After this first episode of the series, I hope we'll start to see this illness differently. Choose to listen, to read, to learn. Go ahead and write something about the topic of depression. It has never been easy for me, for you, for ordinary people, or for those kids trapped in the Black Ocean. But I believe that articles, books, and podcasts like these will gradually change society's perspective on the importance of mental health. Depression is real. It can happen to anyone. It is so frightening that just the thought of it can send chills down your spine. So hold on to each other in the loneliest moments. Love and empathize with one another so that at least we know we always have someone who cares, someone we hope to see each morning. And even for yourself, please open your heart to soothe the pain and feel the care you deserve. Ending life to escape suffering has never a solution anyone should choose. So instead of romanticizing and glorifying sorrow in an extreme way, we always have the choice to see life through a more realistic lens, to recognize other kinds of beauty, the beauty in all living things around us. Hopefully, these books and podcast episodes will be companions for you, the fragile child, helping you find the courage to stand up and leave behind the dark ocean beyond the door of your old home.